Well, I've lived here my entire life, which is 40 plus years, and this is the worst I've ever known it.
I think we'll look back in 30 years and say, how could we let it happen, sort of thing, you know, it's so inhumane.
It's fucked that people are being treated like cattle and just moved for the sake of someone else's agenda.
It's not really taught about that much. We need to be more educated on what causes homelessness.
Helping homeless people and helping people in severe poverty is very much not in line with the way that society is structured at the moment.
I think it's made it more apparent because there aren't so many people out and about on the streets. I think it's made it more apparent how many people there actually are in Bristol that are homeless.
You know, you get stuck in the rut and unfortunately you've got nowhere to go and that's all you can do.
And you realise that they're just people out of a job, they're people that have been kicked out of a house, they're people that have been in abusive relationships. It's just people who've been pushed to their limit and they have no other option.
There won't be, especially people who work in hospitality, there won't be enough hours for people to work.
We need the government support, we need the government to back people and help them, get them food, get them somewhere to stay. I mean, I can't imagine how it feels to be homeless.
People need work and they need to be able to earn their own money and things, and how's that going to happen if so many people have lost their jobs already? There's not as if there's about to be a whole load of new jobs created just for this section of society.
A lot of people just don't know what's around the corner, so they don't know whether they come out of furlough and whether all is rosy or whether, as you say, they may be on the streets, and circumstances in life can change really quickly.
It's scary at the same time because it's just happening around you. It could be just someone you know, it could be even me.
You know, we're in a position with 2 kids and a baby on the way in November where I run a limited company and I've had a fraction of our income and had no support from the government. So it's a knock-on effect. It happens at every level. It's happening everywhere.
Firstly, there's no guarantee that COVID-19 is just going to stop spreading. Putting people in hotels is, it's something we can do quickly to stop the spread a bit, but it's certainly not a long-term solution.
What's going to happen now? What happens when they're suddenly back on the street? Why should they have to go back on the street?
I'm hoping from COVID is for all the terrible stuff that's happening out of it, good comes. And Bristol is always quite a mixed city. You've got poles apart of opinion quite often, but it tends to get together over good things. And so what I'm hoping is from COVID we actually start really focusing on homeless, and there's been really good things like hotels opening up and stuff like that. It's how do we make that sustainable in the long run?
Yes, solving homelessness, so the whole issue of people coming out of hotels and going in, that's the outcome rather than the underlying cause. So you really need to get to the underlying cause of homelessness to start before we can start solving it.
You only have to step outside your door to realise there's a crisis of homelessness in Bristol.
COVID-19 has critically accelerated homelessness within our city. Those without homes to go to and a safe haven to self-isolate are some of the most exposed living in Bristol.
Not only because they don't have a safe place to self-isolate, they are 3 times more likely to have a chronic health condition and 60 times more likely to visit an A&E department.
In recent months, the number of rough sleepers in Bristol has reached its highest numbers in a decade, despite there being a national drop.
And in autumn last year, Bristol shamefully reached its highest number of homeless people on record since the count began a decade ago.
These people will be victimised further by the impending economic crisis. We can't allow this to happen.
With crisis comes reflection and community action. Caring in Bristol will be leading a vocal campaign with these 3 demands.
Demand number 1 is that nobody returns to or is new to the streets of Bristol, that everybody we found accommodation for on a temporary basis during COVID-19 is found long-term accommodation.
Number 2, everybody receives the support they need to keep their accommodation during the economic crisis.
Number 3, that we now focus the needs of future services on those experiencing homelessness. No return to business as usual.